Good morning, Sylvia. It's day, I don't know anymore, day 15 maybe of our adventure. We're in Ely, Nevada, and yes, I pronounced it wrong in a previous video, not Eli, Ely. We're traveling from Ely to Green River, Utah today, and it was...
The wind must have blowing pretty bad last night.
I don't know, I slept good.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good sign.
Yes, it is. So I woke up at 7 o'clock and checked my weather app, and it was 22 degrees outside. So I rolled over and went back to sleep. It's 37 now. I'm getting a little bit of a late start, but it's all good. Have a good day. Well, if you're ever in Ely, Nevada, I highly recommend the Rustic Inn. Yeah, Rustic Inn. Her rates were less than half of what I paid last night for the place at Ely NV, and the room was just as good or better. And I got to chat with her this morning. Her name is Vera. Here's a photo. So I had to chuckle and tell Vera. She called and left a voicemail yesterday about 10 minutes before I got here. It was after 6 o'clock local time. And I told her there was no tone in her voicemail, but I had to chuckle because I got the impression that she was fed up waiting on me and she wanted to leave. She said that I'd already been processed, the key's in the room, there's a do not disturb sign on the door is unlocked, the TV's on, and there was a receipt on the desk for me to sign and everything would be good. And she got a chuckle out of that, and we chatted for a few minutes, and she's owned the place for 40 years. Used to run motels in Vegas, I guess. And she's very particular about the people that she rents to, no locals. I forget what her other criteria were, but she runs a tight ship, and it's a very pleasant stay, and I enjoyed chatting with her. I don't know if you can see the snow-capped mountains, but doesn't it look cold here? Actually, it is cold. It's 37 degrees, and you might laugh about it. There's a storm coming in, but in a couple of days they're going to have a low of in the teens and a high in the 30s in 2 days. So I think it's a good time for me to get out of here. And I had a funny moment yesterday when I came into town. I've stayed in a couple of tourist towns, and Ely is one of them. And I found that a lot of the restaurants have been closed because it's not the tourist season yet. So as I'm coming through town to find my motel, everything's closed. So I get in the motel, get settled a little bit. I am freezing. I rode in high 40s, low 50s, high wind, and I had my heated jacket, but I never stopped long enough to put the liner in my jacket, which helps tremendously to keep the heat around my body. And so I was shivering by the time I got to the motel. But I looked at Google Maps, and there was a bar in town called Shooters, and they had no menu or website or anything, but Google said that they had stir fry at a bar. So I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. A bar and grill usually has comfort food. So I go in, and it's like the TV show Cheers, except without all the decorations and without all the good-looking people. There were 2 men at one end of a bar talking about a divorce, and 3 men at the other end. I don't know what they were talking about. But when I asked the lady if I could get some food there, she said sure, gave me a menu. So I went with BLT. I like BLTs, and it's hard to screw those up. It was actually very good. It was just funny, me sitting at a table all by myself, and I kept my motorcycle gear on because I was still freezing and shivering. I needed to warm up. I just sat there and listened to the locals talk about, you know, local stuff. And me there, the outsider, but I had my cowboy hat on. The cowboy hat makes me. And I'll talk more about that hat later in some other video. I'm at the Great Basin National Park, and I don't think I can get very far because I'm positive that the road is blocked by snow. I've been here in June and couldn't get all the way to the top of the peak because of snow, so I know I won't get very far. But I like this place. A couple of interesting things. There is a glacier in this park. Who would have thunk a glacier in Nevada? But it's got one. And another thing that I like, there's a museum, and in that museum is a rifle. It's a Winchester Model 1873. It was found in 2014 leaning against a tree. Now, the gun was manufactured in 1882. They don't really know exactly when the rifle was left leaning against a tree. But in the stock were some bullets, or some ammunition, and that ammunition was manufactured between 1887 and 1911. So the rifle was left there sometime during that time range. And it's generated a lot of interest, curiosity, fascination. Who would have left their gun leaning against a tree? Or why would they have done that? Did they put it there and then just forget about it? And then when they remembered, couldn't find it again? Or was the owner involved in some type of accident? Or was it killed? Who knows? We'll never know. But it's interesting. Just entered Utah, and the first sign that I saw said next service is 88 miles. But I'm prepared. I'd already checked that out. I've got about 100 miles in the tank, and I've got my spare, so I'm good. Somewhere in nowhere, Utah. I'm at the Super 8 in Green River, Utah, and this one's got pretty good motel art. It's a winter scene, looks like a photograph, black and white, no doubt someplace in Utah. Not bad.